Welcome back, guys. I hope you're doing really well and life's good for you. I've just come back from a nice weekend trip in Amsterdam, but brought back a horrible cold with me, so I'm not feeling the best. But I wanted to push this video out. I asked on my social media to send me lots of questions and I would endeavour to give you answers. Now, I've got them all here on my iPad and I will go through them and answer them to the best of my ability. Right, let's get straight into it, shall we? So James Pigford asks, for base gravy curries, that's British Indian restaurant style, if I'm cooking for more than one, can I just multiply the quantities? Now this is a question I get asked lots, and I've been asked this so many times over the years. The simple answer is just don't do it. I mean, the whole idea of British Indian restaurant style is that you're trying to replicate the curries that you get in your restaurants, and to replicate them accurately, do what the restaurants do and cook an individual portion. Once you start upscaling, it's anyone's guess, depending on the amount of heat you have under your pan, the pan you're using. Also, are you reducing down enough? If you're not reducing down enough and you've got all different amounts of spices in, the ratios will just start falling apart. So I would say keep it simple and basically prep well, get your ingredients ready and just do individuals just like the restaurants do. I hope that answers your question, James. Right, my next question is from Steve Pallen. He says, if you could pick one curry to order in a restaurant and one curry to cook at home, what would they be, Al? If I was to order a curry in a restaurant, would it be... I pretty much every restaurant will have a garlic chili chicken, and that would be probably the one that I would choose, a garlic chili chicken tikka. I love tikka in my curries. I think the followers know that. And what one would I choose to cook at home? There's two. I love the Mughlai Mirchi Gosht made with lamb. It's a one-pot curry, really rich, really deep, lots of aromatic flavours going on in that, and I love lamb. Apart from that, it would be the chicken pathya 30-minute series that I do. Go and check it out. I'll leave the link in the description box below. And I've got another question here from Tim Cole. He says, what annoys you the most about other curry chefs on YouTube? To be honest, Tim, I don't really watch other curry chefs on YouTube. I watch loads of different content creators. Because it's what I do, I tend not to want to watch it. I did probably in years gone by, but not so much now. Well, what annoys me the most? Nothing really that I can think of, apart from the fact that there are some on YouTube that are too chefy and professional, and they keep reminding you of that fact. And all I think is that alienates those chefs from their viewing public. One of the stances I take on the channel is to be just like you and you're just like me. And if I can do it, you can do it. I think once you start going all chefy and I'm a pro or I was a pro, you start to alienate yourself. Apart from anything else, I don't think it endears you to the public. I just think it's a little bit braggy. But you asked the question, there's my answer. Another question here from John Dwayne. That's a good question, John. It says here, do you think toasting and grinding spices rather than using ready ground packet spices is worth the effort for the reward? John, it's personal preference, and it depends on the amount of time you have. Now, I do remember watching a YouTube video where guys tested the same curry made with packet ready spices, and they also ground and roasted some spices, and then they made the same curry. Now they tasted the curries that they made, and what they found was when they toasted and ground the spices, that curry had a more uniform, rounded flavour, whereas the one made with the individual spices was a little not raw as in the spices were not cooked, but just a little bit less rounded, a bit more edge to it. So it really comes down to personal preference and if you've got the time. Me, to be honest, can't be arsed. I just want a bish bash bosh curry done and just get eating it. I mean, to be honest, it doesn't have to be like the absolute best it can be. Not trying to impress too many people. If I want to impress people, then maybe I would do it. But again, it's a personal choice. But I think it does improve the flavour, if that answers your question. Sean Hendy says, how do you know what ingredients to add to make a new curry? Did you work in an Indian restaurant or takeaway before? No, I didn't work in an Indian restaurant or takeaway before. It's been a process of learning along with you guys, going to restaurants, asking questions to the chefs, to the waiters, you know, getting in with the crowd, accessing kitchens, see what they're doing, and then basically replicating at home what I learned until I got to a position where I understood what the spices that I were adding were doing to the curries. So I understood their role in the curry, if you like. Now I've been cooking these kinds of curries now for near 15 years. A lot of practice, a lot of practice, and in time it gets to a point, once you understand the principle of a curry, and what I mean by principle of curry is like cornmeal, obviously BIR style is creamy, coconutty, jalfrezi is a quick fry, onions, chilies, garlic, peppers. A lot of it is open to interpretation. You can literally play around with the spices and create a version based on what you've learned and what you know to your preference. And this is pretty much what I do when I write recipes for you at home in the public. Carl Cook. Kashmiri red chili powder. Is there different types, or are all brands the same? Yes, there are different types and all brands aren't the same. Some are purer than others. Some use both the flesh and the seeds to make the powder, dried and ground. Some will just use the flesh as the outer part. Some will just use the seeds. So they're not all the same. The best brand I have found that is both ultra red and mild is Everest brand. Now I'm not sponsored by them, but I want the best for you guys at home so you can cook the best curries. So if you can get Everest, do try it. I did find I was using other brands like Hera, Natco, East End, and to be honest they were making my curries really hot. And I was like, it's got Kashmiri chili powder in it, it shouldn't be hot. It's because they weren't pure Kashmiri chilies used, or the variant of Kashmiri wasn't the best. Right, let's move on. Ashley Harper, which curry cookbook would or do you use? Actually, I don't use any curry cookbooks. It's God's honest truth. I don't follow recipes in curry cookbooks. I pretty much cook the recipes that I write and show you lot at home, and I swear by them. So that's not to say I wouldn't look in a curry cookbook, but I just don't. Right, Betty McLean. I would like to make your 30-minute curries, but for 8 people for Christmas. Do I double up the quantity? Made them all for 4 people. So she's made them all for 4 people. Yes, Betty, you can literally just double them up. Make sure you double the liquid volume too. Now you might need to cook them for longer to reduce them down, but don't reduce the liquid because the liquid gives you cooking time. And you want the cooking time because the longer the curry's simmering, the more the flavours will develop. And then when you get to the stage where you're bunoing the curry, that means reducing it down to a thicker concentrate. That's when the flavours start to really come of age. I hear a lot of people saying, oh, mine was more watery than yours, Al, so I halved the liquid or really reduced the liquid. Don't, you're reducing cooking time. Your curry will taste more raw, more bitter. You need the cooking time, and the volume of liquid gives you an indication. So it might be that it takes a lot longer. Don't worry, low simmer, give it a stir from time to time so it doesn't catch on the bottom. And by the time it's finished, you would have developed all the flavours. And of course, if you're doubling up and you're cooking it for that much longer, you might want to add the chicken later on, because chicken breast cooks in around 15 minutes, thighs cook in about 30 minutes, so incorporate that into your curry cook. Next question, I'm enjoying this. Ryan Newbury, what made you start making curries? Who inspired you? What made me start making curries? It was one of those moments, Ryan, where I was in an Indian restaurant, having eaten in curry restaurants for quite a long time, and I just wondered why the curries in restaurants tasted totally different to the curries you'd get in recipe books at home. So what was the difference? Obviously, curry recipe books tend to be authentic, and curry restaurants, known as British Indian restaurant style, they're not authentic, but they're what we love and what we know and what we grow up on. And I was quite fascinated by the idea of being able to replicate these curries at home. So I started asking questions, And then I started going on the internet and searching around. And I think one of the first guys to answer the second part who inspired me that I found was Julian Voigt. And again, like myself, a British white guy, had a little curry hut, and he was basically commercially selling kitchen curries. That was his business, and he was doing a good job at it. And I started watching his videos and learning lots more. Coupling that with asking questions in restaurants, I started to trial it at home in my own kitchen, and then it really went on from there. So I hope that answers your question, Ryan. Let's get on here. Right, Sean Guy, how do you come up with your recipes? What is the process of coming up with a new creation? Where do you start? How do you adapt the recipe? Oh, it's a bit three-part question there. How do I come up with recipes? To be honest, Sean, I usually work one or two ahead of myself. I don't put pressure on myself. I'm just thinking all the time. What could I do? Could I change it up? Can I make it easier? I did that with the Vindras, where I merged a Vindaloo and a Madras together and came up with the Vindras. A unique concept, I believe. What is the process of coming up? Just thinking. When I did the 30-minute series, what I realised is that base gravy is predominantly onion. So then with the 30-minute series, all we do is boil and liquidise onion, and then we add the spices in afterward. You still have effectively a base gravy going on in there. It's just assembled a different way, back to front, if you like. So that's a good concept. Been done before, actually. I'm not the first to that, but I'm probably the first to make an entire series out of it. I think I've got more than 15 30-minute curries using this style of onion base. How do you adapt the recipe? Just experience, really. Thanks for that, Sean. Andy Cooper. Is there a chance for 30-minute chicken chetinade? We live in New Zealand now and can't get a decent one. Yeah, Andy, you're in luck. It's on my list to do's. So you should be seeing that really soon. Okay. Patrick Alton. Can you go into detail why the 30-minute method produces such quality curries? They have always I think he means they have always outperformed base gravy recipes for me, and I have yet to have a curry eating out better than them. Can you also explain how you select spices when crafting a 30-minute recipe? Seems a mystery to me. Okay, so why are they a success, the 30-minute curries? Well, as I explained in the previous answer, it's because you still pretty much are using a base. It's just hydrated rather than dehydrated. What I mean by that is you're using an onion concentrate base, which you then add spices to, which you then hydrate by adding the onion water. When you use base gravy, you're pretty much creating the entire base, which you then reduce down. You reduce the water out. So it's a back to front method, isn't it? It's the same thing at the end. And if you do them right, you should not be able to taste much of a difference. Can you explain how you select spices? Well, I'm personally upscaling them for the 30-minute series based on my experience. It's a job that can be a little bit tricky. Sometimes I need to do the curry once or twice before I go to recording the videos to make sure they're like okay. But I'm never afraid to change a recipe if I feel that it can be improved. So even when my videos go out live on air to you, when I write the recipe down in the box, which is done late that evening or the next day, once I've eaten the curry, if I feel like it needed a little more salt or a little more cumin, I will write that into the written recipe, which is why I've always said to you, written is always right. So if you see me video some, you say, well, you didn't do that in the video. Doesn't matter, just look at the written. Written is always right. Steve Marsh, thank you for your question. What's your favourite curry, beer and Indian restaurant? Mine is the Shosna, Rochester. Next time you're up this way, try it. But what's my favourite curry? To be honest, Steve, it's a really difficult question. I have lots of different curries that I like and enjoy, and sometimes that depends in what restaurant I'm eating at. Like one restaurant might do the best dansak compared to its competitors. One restaurant might do an exceptional lamb boner. So it does differ from place to place. But to answer your question, what's my favourite curry? I think it has to be a garlic chili chicken or a garlic chili lamb. That could change, but that's my answer. Right, with a curry, what's my favourite beer? I would always go in for a Cobra. I believe Cobra was designed to be eaten with curry. I think it's a really hoppy lager, and the hops give you a lovely flavour, and it complements curries really well. So Cobra. And my favourite Indian restaurant, again, don't really have one. In my area, it's the I Naga in West Wickham. To me, there's just not a restaurant that compares with that in the whole borough. When I discovered it, I thought, oh my God, someone's really doing the real deal. And it was a throwback to the old days where restaurants really had passion for the food, the service. They're always busy, the curries are really good. They've got a really nice menu, a good variation going on in there. So that's my favourite restaurant. I'm going to say I Naga. Right, Gordon Thomas. When and where was your first experience of a real curry? Not a school dinner, chip shop or supermarket. Tinned. Well, being a council estate guy, we never had much money growing up. So my only experience of curry was ball in the bag bird's eye and Vesta and curry flavoured pot noodle when they came out. But when I was 17, my girlfriend being, at that time, being middle class, she'd been eating takeaways all her life. I mean, we could barely afford to eat at home, let alone have a takeaway from a restaurant. But our first date was an Indian restaurant of her choosing in Thornton Heath. And I thought, I'm going out to an Indian restaurant. I'm eating in restaurants now. And I'm a man. I'm growing up. I'm an adult. And we go in there. She knows the menu. She knows what she likes. And I didn't really know anything, really, to be honest. They never had just chicken curry, bird's eye. It was just all proper curries, boona, jalfrezi, etc. But at that time, I didn't really know the curries, but I'd heard of Madras. So I had a pint and a Madras. Trying to be like all macho and booked, going in with Madras, And Madras comes, and I'm eating it, and I'm drinking my lager, and my mouth's starting to burn up. And now I'm starting to sweat, and she's like, "You alright? I'm really surprised you went in with a Madras." I said, "Oh yeah, I've had these before, it's fine." Lies. And I'm eating it, and now I'm getting unwell. I'm actually profusely sweating, and I'm actually feeling sick. So I says to her, "Listen, I need to go to the toilet." I had to excuse myself. Went downstairs, the toilets were downstairs under the ground. And I got in the toilet, slammed the door shut, ripped my shirt off, and I pressed my naked back up the tiles because they were nice and cold. And I think now I was having a panic attack. I didn't know what a panic attack was, but I think I was actually having a panic attack from the way this curry was making me feel. So I remember pushing my back up the cold tiles, doing deep breathing, heart was pounding, I was sweating, mouth was on fire. I was like, how am I going to go back up there and finish that curry? I can't. What am I going to say? I'm going to look like a total dick. Oh my God, I feel sick. Oh my God, what am I going to do? Anyway, I was putting cold water on my face. When I was gone for a while, she must have thought I was having the biggest ever. So I go back up there, I just says to her, I don't feel very well. And she says, "Oh, anything wrong?" I said, "I don't know, I just feel a little bit sick." I said, "I'm not sure if I can finish the curry." She says, "Okay." So she wasn't aware it was because it was too hot. Couldn't wait to get out of that restaurant. Steve Peake. Did you ever think your channel would become so popular? And how has it affected your life? Keep up the good work. Popular? Absolutely no way. I mean, when I started the channel, it was, I won't say it was a joke, but it was a kind of, let's just set the camera going, let me put a recipe out there, and let's just see whether anybody watches it. That was it. It wasn't a career move. I wasn't thinking, I'm going to be a big YouTuber. And I just thought that it will grow like a tree or a plant. If people like it and they enjoy the content, it will grow. And if they don't like it, and they don't enjoy the content, it won't grow. And the thing about it was, Steve, is I was happy with both eventualities because I didn't set out with YouTube as a career move. And now it does really well for me. It brings me a really good income. But again, I don't do it for the money. I've never really done it for the money. I do it for the creativity, the passion, the love, I enjoy recording the videos, I enjoy cooking anyway. Can't say I enjoy the editing, don't like the editing, but by and large I really enjoy all of it. Now as for the money aspect, I see I see that like I'm carrying a bucket behind me and people throw money into the bucket through viewing, but it's almost as a result of doing the video. But you'll find that the guys that do YouTube for money are very rarely successful. The ones that are doing it with passion, their videos resonate with the masses, and then they get the followers that they desire, and then the money comes. And that's the way around you've got to do it. Oh, before I go, just to let you know, got these back in stock for Christmas. Now I have very few left because I actually put it out on social media that they're on sale, so they've pretty much all been snapped up, but there are a few left. We've got the burgundy one, and we've got the original black one, which was the first one ever designed. So if you want to buy one of these for Christmas, get in quick, because like I say, I only ordered a couple hundred and the majority of them are gone. I'll leave a link in the description so you can buy one in time for Christmas. I'm Al, and I'm out of here.